So, welcome everybody. Friday, the 29th, January 2021. All is well. Welcome to Just the Point of View. Got a couple of interesting topics. Could be controversial. I just want you to remember that it's just the point of view. I'm going to go right on into it. One of the topics today is the rites of passage. And I'm speaking on the rites of passage because I think that this is most necessary in society. You know, when people think of rites of passage, most of the time we think of a tradition in Africa of coming to the age. You know, they put the men and the young boys in a group, and then they are, advised, trained, given information, and once they go through that rites of passage, they enter into what is known as manhood. But I think that this is most necessary not just for so-called descendants of Africa, but all nationalities of people. We need a rites of passage for our young men, just as we need a rites of passage for our young women. And I think that because we don't have these types of scenarios going on in our communities and things of that nature, that a lot of young people grow up and have a distorted view of reality. They say that, well, that's up to the parents. Well, it's, the teachers teach from the days of former, when things wasn't so wild and out of control, that it takes a village, it takes a community, it takes a neighborhood to raise one child. And we have gotten away from that. And this is something that I think needs to come back into play, because if we look at the fruit of human beings, talking about the children, that a lot of these children, they have lost their way. And I myself have made an analysis, and the parents collectively are responsible. Back in the days, it was a sense where though someone parent seen you doing something that was in error, that they could correct you, call your parents on you, so forth and so on. But what ended up happening, younger people start having children. They say, don't talk to my child, don't put your hands on my child. And you know what happened? You spare the child, you spare the rod, and the child is spoiled. They're doing anything. The same child that you protecting coming back disrespecting you. And I think that's all because young people don't have information of the rites of passage. They don't learn what honor and integrity is as young people. And I'm not saying that teaching young people these things going to prevent them from participating in certain types of activities. But one thing that I have learned, when you educate or give people information, even if they go astray, and when they get into these places and positions, they usually hear a voice or a sense of reason and say, dang, I remember my pops told me that, I remember my big brother told me that, I remember when my sister told me that, I remember my uncle told me that. But if you don't have a source of reservoir of information to resort to, you out there, you lost. And that's what's going on with a lot of our children, young people. I think that the rites of passage, what it does is teaches a young man how to become a mature young man, and moving into manhood is a process. In this rites of passage, you get taught different types of things about your responsibility as a part of the community. You get taught a lot of different things that help form your inner being. And one of those things is the respect of women, respect of your sisters, respect of your mother, respect of the female principle. And a lot of times, one of the things I learned is a lot of men become abusive to women because they was raised by their mother. Not all of them, but some of them, they become abusive because what's in the back of their mind is that their mother is the one that have disciplined them, hollered at them, whooped them, And these things become a psychological issue, and then they grow up and they have resentment, and then they take it out on their girlfriends and their wives and so forth and so on. I'm not saying that this is the total analysis to this situation that I'm speaking on. I'm not saying that by any ways, but I'm saying this is a degree and a possibility. So we can put a halt to that degree and possibility. That's one step towards moving to men respecting women, not putting their hands on them, not cursing them, talking reckless to them, so forth and so on. Because the same man that disrespect his significant other, he also had that disrespect for himself. And I want to go over to the young ladies. I think they need to go through a rites of passage, because they need to learn certain things that is necessary for them to develop better relationships with their counterparts, the male figure. They need to learn that the respect, and they need to learn those women lessons, how to deal with a man when he is feeling some type of way. Instead of becoming fire on the situation, learn how to soothe the situation. Learn how to learn your mate or your significant other and become a asset to your man, instead of a liability in a sense, or some type of nagging individual, some type of individual that abuse him verbally, and just disrespectful because you're unhappy because maybe he's not producing, he's not successful as you would like him to be, or maybe that you just didn't learn how to respect a man. And on the other side, the man, you must learn to respect your woman, because we are part of a whole. The woman and the man come together, they make a completion. It's 180 degrees of knowledge with the man, 180 degrees of wisdom with the woman. I'm just using this scenario as one of the lessons that I have learned. So you put that together, that 180 degrees and that 180 degrees equals 360 degrees, which birth understanding or understanding, which is the child. And when you birth a child in a situation where so that balance is there, some call it the yin and the yang. People call it the higher self, lower self, positive, negative, but it's a unit. And alchemy, they call it the transmutation. They're bringing it together of separate things and bringing it into a coagulation aspect. We bringing it together, man and women coming together and setting examples. You're not just speaking information, but living this information, and that's what we have gotten away from, and that's living information. We talk a lot, talk, but we demonstrate bend over and crooked and perverse, so forth and so on. Now, another topic that may be within the same topic that some people may disagree with, I think that young men and young women in their early ages should not go to school together because they are distractions towards one another. This is my own personal perspective from my own personal experience, and what I know that would be a better environment for these young people to be cultivated in. Because if you cultivate the young man or the young woman in the elementary levels of school, once they get to junior high school or high school, whichever time that they are able to come together and learn together, they will have a certain amount of information that can make them respect the opposite sex. But when you got everybody jumbled all intertwined together like this Western society has our children and have had us, we got a lot of confusion, a lot of distractions. Some young people, their hormones and their interest in the opposite sex come on at a very early age. And not saying that they were separated, that this would not happen, but you have a better opportunity with giving them this information that you can focus on that is more beneficial to the particular sex. I know in the new day and time, oh, that's bias. Yeah, that's you having some type of phobias against women and men being together, so forth and so on. That is nonsense. There's a natural order in this world, and here in the United States and Western society, we are creating a new order, a new norm, which is never going to be really a norm because it is a distortion of our particular reality. Only way this things that's coming today in society is being accepted is because we have agreed. We have made an agreement. We made an agreement because of various reasons. I'm not even going to go into the the topic of the different genders and the combining of them and the mixing of it, and you can be a dog or you can be a cat or you can be a lion or a bear because that's what you identify with. I'm just using that as an example, and to me that is non-acceptable. We got to teach, and we got to know that we're dealing with energies and frequencies, and some of these energies and frequencies are so powerful that they actually distort the perception of an individual. I'm gonna just leave it. I'm gonna just touch on the real lightly. Like, if you have a vagina and you can produce children, two VJs not gonna produce a child. Two swords in a sword fight is not going to produce a child. So that is telling us that even though that you may love this person for say, and and you got these eyes for this person for say, and they're the same gender you are, we got to know what's the difference between what is real love and infatuation and lust. A lot of these situations, even with male-female relationship, is based on infatuation and lust. So I'm gonna leave that right there. The other topic I wanted to speak on is that we as people, so-called black people, the fruit of the slaves that were brought here to the shores of North America, we are that fruit. In this day, a very serious thing is going on, and it's dealing with finances. A lot of our people, that our forefathers came on the same slave ship, worked on the same plantations, but people have gotten opportunities, and things have been favorable. They have made it more favorable to their life experience because of certain type of attributes they was endowed with by the Creator, and now they are moved up from those lower levels of societies, and they living in financial paradise in a sense. Maybe it is financial paradise, but I don't know if it's mental and spiritual paradise. But I think personally, this is just my perspective, that certain individuals such as LeBron James has set an excellent example what needs to take place to take the people to the next level. He took his money, invested in the school, said everybody y'all can come free. Woo, 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 woo. LeBron James is one man. LeBron James gave back in a big sense. He's a trendsetter. And some of these other athletes whose livelihood is actually being supported by the people that watch them, that buy their apparel, that that uplift them, in conversations, so forth and so on. Their fans, unfortunately, I don't know if the word fan come from the root word is fanatic. Their fans giving money here and there and there, but you got to give back. You got to. I'm not gonna say that you have to, but it is in a sense your gift to receive what you have received to help out. And what I'm saying is that, man, we keep on saying that the system, the man, the government supposed to do this and this and this and this and this and that. And what happened is that so-called black people have taken on the minds of the slave master. We already know that other people and other nationalities got minds of the slave master, but when you have a so-called African descendant by the wave of the transatlantic slave trade with a slave mastermind, we have a big problem. And because they got the slave master's mind, they think as the slave master, I'm gonna separate myself from them NIGGAs, and I got my money. I'm sitting on swole. I'm rolling on 26s. Wah. And all of this is nonsense. You got a responsibility to your people. You don't owe the people nothing. It's just the proper thing to do. Build a school or two. Get some of your colleagues together. I'm talking about you professional athletes, but it's even bigger than those individuals. I'm just using the professional athlete as a point of reference. But there are so many people that we can be doing things within the United States that bring about a utopia for the people. And it's like if we wait for the government to do it, it's never going to get done. Point blank, because that's not their golden agenda. We can look every day and the politics with the politics and the hypocrites, the serpent men and the reptilians, they do their bidding at. You know what? They never want the have-nots to raise up. I heard about a gentleman just the other day talking about, if you got convicted of a felony, you shouldn't be able to receive minimum wages. What kind of madness is that? I tell you what it is. It's a form of the slave master mind and his white supremacy at its best to continue to oppress the have-nots. And that's what they doing. And I'm not a supporter of the Democrats. I'm not against the Republicans. I'm just telling you what I have been seeing. The Republicans continue to say, you know what, this is our money, this is our prosperity, and we don't want to share it with you. We want to keep you down in the gutter. You got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps, and if you don't, shame on you. But if we continue to operate like that, it is nothing but chaos and HE double hockey stick for the inhabitants of the planet. We got to realize that there's an entity, a mindset that has committed a mutiny on the planet and the direction that the people is going. And this mutiny is actually sending us on a crash course into what the Vedas or the philosophy for the East into the Kali Yuga. We're in a stage of destruction, and we are, as a people, are allowing this to take place, because within this so-called democracy, I'm not a real strong supporter of it, but I realize that it's in place for a particular reason. It's in place because if operated properly, as far as bringing to the attention of the authority figures and those big heads that run this joint, and if the people move in a certain type of way with this liberty of democracy, that things can actually change. And the only way that they won't change is that these big heads or these authoritarians decide to use force on the people in an uncivilized way. But I think that's because of the media and everything that's going on. The universe, the creator, has set it up for people to make it happen. But if we don't make it happen, it ain't gonna happen. And that's it. If we stay home looking at our flat strings, off our chill mode, I'm satisfied. But it's bigger than that. And I know that people say, well, that ain't none of my business. That ain't none of my responsibility. And then you can say that. And that is a carnal way of looking at it. But when you look at the big picture through the spiritual lenses, it is our business. I am my brother's keeper. You are your brother's keeper, even if you think that you're not. And if you don't do it, you lacking in your true responsibility to humanity. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a few more things I was going to expound on, but I actually have went over the time limit that I was, had this video gauged around. I just want to thank you for viewing today. Hopefully that some of this information resonate with you and make a little bit of sense. And you know what? If we don't do nothing, we ain't gonna get nothing. And if we keep on fighting one another because of, melon recessive or excessive, or the way, the different languages that we speak, the different places that we are located in the earth, we ain't gonna never get nowhere. Because you know what, man, a house divided cannot stand. This is the teachings. You know, I've come to you with this message in peace. I leave you this message in love. Man, mental elevation is a way of life. Self-improvement is a way of life. And if you don't do it for yourself, do it for your kids.